Hey everybody, so with it being 2024, I thought maybe it was a good idea to do a updated DD6 recommendation guide. There are some out there, but they're pretty old, so it's probably useful to do a new one. I'm about, I don't know, 70% of the way through DD6, so I have some pretty solid recommendations here, and just kind of thought I'd bring that insight to you guys here. Like I said, I think it's time for an update because these recommendations do absolutely change with time as new characters come out. And so some of these, where the recommendation is a little bit dated, I'll provide an idea for maybe a newer character that might take the place. And so starting with global, my team is Iron Man, Infinity War. Pretty solid recommendation, very good character. Pegasus needed for the Incursion 2 tech lanes. You won't get through them any other way. So he's a very solid recommendation, and he's also current. So stand behind that one. Big boy Apocalypse, you're going to need him. Either if he's small or big, you're going to need him. But you should try to get him fully unlocked and empowered to really give yourself an easy time. So of course, fully stand behind that recommendation still. He's even if by the time you're watching this, he maybe seems a little bit old, he is absolutely not at a place where he's at all skippable. So you still need him and totally recommend him. Weaver has been excellent. That's not just me. Other people who have, if you look elsewhere at current recommendations, Weaver is still in there. Super solid, good character. Of course, great in Crucible as well. Braun is kind of an older recommendation here for the global. He's someone you might replace with someone newer. The reason I took him in, 3 months ago or whatever, or 2 months ago when I was doing global, is that he's, of course, a horseman team member, so he's required to unlock Big Apocalypse. So you're going to be taking him to Gear 17 to get Apocalypse. So you may as well pop him up one more level to Gear 18 and then use him. I have to say, he kind of sucked. I mean, he didn't suck. He was average. He wasn't remarkable in any way in terms of his actual performance in DD6, but he's good enough, and he's kind of one that you're justifying based on gear requirements anyway in order to get Apocalypse. And then Gambit was fantastic. One of the most powerful mutants in the game. Mutants kind of getting a slight rework here as of late in the game, as of January 1st, 2024 when I'm filming this. And Gambit just, if you have a big Gambit and he's just constantly pinging enemies with his passive ability, you're doing a ton of damage. And he was just dropping guys like flies passively. Once you're really degrading their health, those pings from Gambit are just excellent. If you can put diamonds on him, it's just crazy. So I fully stand behind that too. Like I said in Global, the only weak recommendation here maybe is Braun. We can look at the global section and see who you might replace him with. Nightcrawler just came out. He is a mutant character, and the recommendations here overall aren't too mutant heavy, so Nightcrawler is totally someone you might want to pick. Maybe one of the stronger recommendations I would make for replacing Braun. Maybe also Captain Carter there. She's also a bio like Braun, so same gear requirement. So, maybe replace Braun with Peggy Carter or Nightcrawler if you want, if you don't like Braun. But other than that, I think it's a solid list. Cosmic. These are pretty strong recommendations here. I don't think there is a much better way to go in the game currently, even though this team, it definitely took longer to get through the Cosmic section than it did to get through Global, probably just because I didn't have Apocalypse. That's how much of an influence Apocalypse is going to be. I do have a very big Kang, a pretty big Vol. Photon's kind of a debatable pick there, but when I did her, she was currently part of the arena meta, and so that's why I justified it. Beta Ray Bill. Another one that you might look at and think, I don't know if I want to do Beta Ray Bill, but when you look at the other choices, you're going to see that there aren't a lot of other obvious ones to put in his place. Some people did Star-Lord Annihilation, and I almost did that too. However, from what I've gathered, people who took Star-Lord Annihilation were not happy with it, so I'm actually very glad I avoided that. Beta Ray Bill is part of the Mystic Raid team, so he's much more useful than the Nowhere team, in my opinion. And so that's why I did that. And then Kestrel has been excellent. So Kestrel, Vol, and King, no brainers. I don't think anyone's going to have much of a problem bringing up those characters. Photon and Beta Ray might feel a little bit undesirable to you, and I get that. But the thing is, there actually, believe it or not, aren't a lot of obvious better choices. So I kind of stick with those. We can look at other options, possibly, or other possibilities to slot in there in a second. City, not much to say on this one. The lineup I have here is fantastic. Ghost Rider probably has been the best for me. He's totally overperforming for my expectations. His damage and his bleeds are insane. He's just devastating to the enemies. And of course, he's part of the arena meta. So is Miss Marvel Hardlight. She's also been great. Vulture and Kraven have also both been excellent and are part of the Cosmic Crucible meta. Vulture's great. Good control, great ultimate with turn rewind from Vulture. Kraven ability block, ton of damage. In 2099 of putting out slows, ability blocks, a ton of other debuffs. I couldn't be happier with how City's going. It's actually been so easy for me so far that it's clear that I'm going to finish the City section before I'm anywhere close to getting my Legendary roster ready to go into that section. So as far as I'm concerned, they're sort of overkilling the nodes. Just been fantastic. So that's a really strong City lineup, and I totally recommend that if you're looking to, or if you're struggling with what to bring in. Also, full disclosure, I haven't even started Legendary yet, but I feel that I can make pretty solid recommendations for it because, one, your choices on that are way, way, way more limited. So it's not like there's a ton of debate over who to pick and choose, especially in the non-Horseman Legendary. I think the lineup you see on the screen right here is going to be the one that the vast majority of people are using. And I also recommend it. I mean, Black Cat's a no-brainer. So are Doc Ock and Green Goblin. Together, they're fantastic and part of, again, the Crucible meta, with Cosmic Crucible being also, probably the most important game mode. So definitely build up those two. They are fantastic. Build up Black Cat, of course. Nova, one of the newer legendaries, he's also excellent. And then for the fifth one, it's tough. You kind of picking and choosing from some older characters. I'm going Omega Red, though. He is excellent. He's a mutant. And I thought maybe of bringing in Phoenix, believe it or not. But I don't know. I may do some more research on whether anyone else has used Phoenix and had any luck with her. But for now, I'm thinking I'm going to probably do Omega Red. I might switch to Phoenix. I'm not sure. So I don't know, consider that if you want, or maybe do your own research into whether or not Phoenix is actually any good. She does have a really good health steal, which has made her popular in past Dark Dimensions. And then for the Legendary, it's almost the same lineup, except you're bringing in Apocalypse instead of Omega Red. So that's great. You're using 4 out of the 5 same characters, saving you a ton of gear. You should obviously try to have as much overlap between the non-Horsemen and the regular Legendary section, the final section, as you can. And of course, the fifth one you're going to bring in is going to be Apocalypse there, and you're going to replace someone else. So for me, the no-brainer there was to replace Omega Red. And with that, that pretty much covers it. We can look at the Cosmic section real quick and see who else you might conceivably want to bring in. Dormammu is a popular choice, but he's very expensive. The next section really doesn't have anyone you would probably even want to consider. And then this kind of section here now with Startlet Annihilation, the Eternals, the Nowhere team members. You could make an argument for all of them, but again, with Photon being part of the arena meta, but that's kind of fading into the background now. So maybe there's some other choice that makes more sense now, or maybe a new character who's not even on here that has just come out that is a little better. And if there is, then go for it. But what I'm showing you here are very solid lineups that all make sense in the game today as of January 2024. So that's what I've been going with. We can pop into the game to look at some of the nodes and see how that's going. So here we are in game, and you can see first attack on the city, 94 million, more than halfway destroyed the node. That team's excellent. You got Big Vulch there, 400k Vulch. That's what I used to call him back in high school. He's fantastic, just crushing it. And pretty big Ghost Rider, and a very big 2099 who's also been excellent. While we're in here, might as well go back and look at the other nodes. Like I said, Cosmic was a struggle. It was a struggle, and if we look through my attacks, you got some 10 and 9 million, a 6 million attack. There were times where the lineup of enemies that had dropped was just brutal. I think there were some, it was like 3 out of the 5 Darkhold members, a couple of Doctor Stranges, and who's the girl? Morgan Le Fay. Were just kicking my ass, and each attack was just, I was barely getting one turn with each character before I would get wiped out. So that was a tough grind. I didn't enjoy the Cosmic section, but it is what it is. You got to get through it. Then here in Global, 75 million, some very strong attacks there too. Global team, highly recommended, averaging probably 50 million in attack. So very strong team there. Global took me like a week to get through. Cosmic probably 2.5 weeks. And City, I don't know, but assuming I'm going to need 2 or 3 attacks per node, less than a week probably to get through it. Like I said, not even enough time to get my legendary roster ready for their section. So there you go. Hope that helps. I do still believe these are pretty solid recommendations, but of course, depending on when you're watching this video, if there are new characters out, maybe a new legendary, a new legendary would be something to strongly consider for your non-horseman legendary section in terms of replacing Omega Red. And also maybe, look for any new Cosmic characters to bring into that Cosmic lineup, because that was kind of a weaker one. Other than that, though, I think it's really solid. I think if you use these, you'll get through it with relative ease. And, that'll be fun. Then you'll get Super Scroll. So if you like the video, leave a like, subscribe. And thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.